Welcome back to Easily Explained, where today we will be talking about the compound subject and the compound verb. So let's get started. So when we talk about a compound subject consists of two or more subjects that are joined by a conjunction. So this would be like and, or, nor, and they have the same verb. So for example, if we were given a sentence like, our compound subject would be Tony and Jay because they are joined by a conjunction and they have the same verb. They both walked. And then when we talk about compound verb, not a compound predicate, a compound verb, because technically both verbs are still part of the predicate, so it's not a compound predicate. It's a compound verb. It has two or more verbs that are joined by a conjunction, and they have the same subject. So for example, if we just have Tony walked and ran. The compound verb is walked and ran because they are joined by the conjunction and they both have the same subject, Tony. And yes, we can combine both a compound subject and a compound verb. So if we were to say something like, either Tony or Jay will walk and run. So either Tony and Jay is the compound subject because they are joined by the conjunction either or, and they both are talking about the same verbs. And then walk and run is your compound verb because they are also joined by conjunction and they have the same compound subject. So now for practice, identify the compound subject and or compound verb in each case. Pause the video now and complete the practice. Alright, so let's go over the first one. Lana and Teresa worked hard. So first let's see if there's any compound subject. So the compound subject is Lana and Teresa because it is joined by a conjunction and both Lana and Teresa have the same verb, worked. However, we don't have any compound verbs in this case because the only verb is worked. Next, most of the men clapped and cheered. Is there a compound subject? So one thing to note about subjects is when we're given a preposition like this, a lot of the times we want to assume that the subject is just men, even though a subject can never be in a prepositional phrase. So the subject is actually most. Of the men just describes the most. So there's no compound subject in this case because it's not given. And then clapped and danced. Clapped and dance is a compound verb. It is joined by and they both have the same subject, most. Number 3, both Jake and James have nice cars. We have this coordinating conjunction, Jake and James, because it has the same verb, have. That is your compound subject. I watched my siblings and did my homework. So I is obviously your subject. Watched and did is your compound verb. Now, even though there's some other information in between the and, they still both have the same subject. And they're still joined by a conjunction and, so watched and did is your compound verb in this case.
Congratulations! You are now an expert at the compound subject and the compound verb. We hope this video really helped, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!